Hello and spooky greetings to you all. In this video, we are going to be discussing 3 lesser known haunted places in the USA. Hopefully you guys haven't heard of all of these and find some interest in these less well known spooky destinations. Bodie, an abandoned mining town located in Bodie Hills east of the Sierra Nevada mountain range in California, is known as a real-life ghost town, therefore making it the perfect first entry in this list. So let's dive into the history of this now desolate place and find out some of the ghost stories surrounding it. Bodie became what was known as a boom town in 1876 after gold was discovered in the area and enterprising locals began mining it there. By 1879, the town had a population of 7,000 to 10,000 people and was thriving. The town declined quite rapidly in the following years, with mining slowing down and profits hitting a low of only just below $7,000 in 1914. People began moving to the more profitable towns with booming industry and more realistic potential opportunities to make their fortune. The town's railway was abandoned and the iron tracks scrapped in 1917, and by 1920 the town's population was just 120 people. The last mine, known as Lucky Boy, ran out of luck and closed during 1942 due to the Second World War, and from then on Bodie has been known as a so-called ghost town. This deserted mining town is thought to have a curse associated with it. It is said that if you take anything from Bodie when you visit, even a pebble, then you will be cursed and haunted by the town's former residents. Believe it or not, the park rangers who look after the historic site claim that numerous amounts of people come to return things they have taken as a way to rid themselves of the apparent misfortune and bad luck caused by the curse. There are even letters from people who have returned items to Bodie, asking for forgiveness in a museum at the site. Some think these stories are all concocted by the park rangers in an attempt to create more interest in the historic site and keep people wanting to visit, which is of course entirely possible. The J.S. Kane House, named after James Stewart Kane, who controlled most of the mines in the 1910s, is said to be haunted by a Chinese maid. Visitors sleeping in the house report waking up to a large Chinese woman sitting on them, attempting to suffocate them. Apparently, the ghostly maid dislikes adults greatly, but loves children, so leaves them to sleep peacefully. There are, however, reportedly a fair few friendly ghosts that haunt the town. The Mendocini house is said to be home to several. The laughter of children and party-like sounds have been heard coming from the house. Mrs. Mendocini, thought to be one of these more friendly ghosts, used to love cooking her Italian food for guests, and rangers today report that they can smell delicious cooking scents when entering the house. Another ghost that apparently means no harm is the alleged ghost of a 3-year-old girl who died when accidentally being struck by a miner's pick. One visitor, who brought his own little girl with him to see the town, claimed that when near the statue for this deceased girl, his daughter was giggling and seemingly playing with an invisible entity. So what do you think? Is the title of Ghost Town appropriate in more ways than one? Or are these spooky stories exactly that? Stories and legends that have been passed down generations, or an attempt to drum up business for the town's historical tours? Opened on October 25th, 1829, Eastern State Penitentiary was innovative in its time and has inspired the design of many prisons worldwide since. Focusing on reform rather than punishment, the prison was one of the first to pioneer separate incarceration. Before this, most prisoners would be held in a cell together with many others, and usually regardless of gender or crimes committed. Remaining open until 1971, Eastern State has held some notable characters such as bank robber Willie Sutton and even infamous gangster Al Capone. In 1924, Pennsylvania Governor Gifford Pinchot sentenced Pep the dog, yes, the dog, to a life sentence at Eastern State for attacking his wife's beloved cat. The prison is now a US National Historical Landmark, which is open for tours 7 days a week, 10 AM to 5 PM. Having had such a long and varied, and sometimes horrific history, Eastern State Penitentiary is considered one of the most haunted prisons in the US. It has been featured on numerous ghost hunting type TV shows and YouTube channels, with reports of ghostly voices being heard, doors opening and closing on their own, and shadow people being witnessed by visitors. Interestingly, one of the first reports of ghostly activity came from the infamous Chicago gangster Al Capone himself. Capone had the nicest cell in the prison, complete with a desk, lamp, paintings, and even a radio. However, he was far from comfortable during his stay for 8 months in 1929 to 1930. He claimed he was haunted by one of the victims of the St. Valentine's Massacre, a brutal killing of Irish mobsters during Prohibition thought to have been perpetrated by Al Capone's Chicago outfit. James Clark was one of those killed, and according to Capone, Clark relentlessly haunted him in his cell, causing him to lose sleep, and allegedly he would scream every night, shouting at Jimmy to leave him alone. In fact, many of the cell blocks are said to be very haunted, with lots of stories of strange and creepy occurrences experienced by guards and visitors alike. In cell block 4, for example, loud whispers are often heard, along with the sights of ghostly anguished faces being reported. One locksmith doing work at the prison had a very unique experience, if he is to be believed. He states that while removing an old lock from a cell door, he was overcome by a massive force, with figures swirling around him while being unable to move or speak. One of the figures seemed to be beckoning him. With many of the usual symptoms of haunted places, such as disembodied voices and screams, doors opening and slamming shut of their own accord, and sounds of chains dragging, not to mention ghostly shouts in people's ears, it's safe to say Eastern State definitely deserves its spot on this list, and may well be one of the most haunted places in America. Our third entry on this list is a vast sprawling area known as the Pine Barrens. Located in New Jersey, this 1.1 million acre area of forest land stretches almost across 7 counties of New Jersey and occupies 22% of its land area. While this doesn't sound overly spooky from the outset, there are in fact many a scary ghost and paranormal story associated with this forested area. The first we will discuss is that of the Jersey Devil. With many varying accounts of what the New Jersey Devil, also known as the Leeds Devil, looks like, the most common description is as follows. With leathery bat-like wings and cloven hooves, this bipedal monstrosity is said to have the head of a horse or a goat, possess a forked tail, and also emit a blood-curdling screaming sound. According to local legend, the Jersey Devil was the cursed son of a Jane Leeds, also known as Mother Leeds, hence the name Leeds Devil. The story goes that Mother Leeds was the parent of 12 children, and understandably was a bit stressed about this. Upon finding out she was pregnant for a 13th time, she is said to have cursed the child in anger, crying out that it was the devil. After giving birth on a stormy night, the child, first seemingly born a normal human child, changed into a devilish creature with the aforementioned hooves, wings, and goat head. It then flew up the chimney and off into the pines. While this outlandish story is obviously now considered just that, a story, there are plenty of encounters and sightings of the beast continuing to this day. Firstly, Joseph Bonaparte, the elder brother of Napoleon, is said to have witnessed the creature while hunting in 1820. During the week of January 16th to January 23rd, 1909, there was a huge wave of reported sightings and scares involving the devil. The reports were so numerous that a number of schools closed and some workers remained home for their safety. Newspapers reported hundreds of incidents from all across South Jersey and the Philadelphia area, including the devil attacking a trolley car in Haddon Heights and a social club in Camden, during which Camden police fired upon the creature to apparently no effect. Also, strange hoofprints in the snow were reported. Groups of hunters roamed the pines looking to attack or kill the creature. There were in fact a number of hoaxes involving the devil. Norman Jeffries and his friend Jacob Hope purchased a kangaroo from a local circus and glued artificial claws and bat wings onto it in an attempt to pass it off as a slain creature. This, however, was quickly found out. Captain Kidd, the infamous pirate, who buried some of his treasure in the area, is said to haunt the New Jersey pines. Locals report him walking headless on the beach alongside the Jersey Devil. A more benevolent spirit in the pines is that of the white stag. The stag is said to appear and prevent disasters, and be an omen of good luck if witnessed. The stag apparently prevented a stagecoach crashing into the Basto River. The stagecoach driver was confused when the horses stopped suddenly in the road and refused to go any further. He climbed down and noticed the white stag in the road, which then apparently disappeared. When he walked a little bit up the road, the bridge was out, and they would have certainly fallen into the dangerous river. While a creepy story, the problem with these things is it's all based on local folklore, which tends to get twisted and exaggerated over time. Not to mention the problem of opportunistic people creating hoaxes for financial gain or fame. So, what do you think? Would you dare go to visit these spooky American haunts? Let me know in the comments if you have in fact been to any of the places, or if you have a story of your own. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.